You want to see how I made this beautiful cherry coffee table in just a weekend's time? Let me show you how it's done. Hi, I'm John Nixon from Eagle Lake Woodworking. I've just received my shipment from Osborne Wood Products of the components I'm going to use to assemble a coffee table. The only thing I had to make was the top. I sent the dimensions of the top to Osborne Wood Products, and they cut the skirt boards to length and even fashioned a tenon on the end. And they mortised the legs to match. Let me show you the components. Everything came really well packaged and arrived safely. I chose a mission style leg for my table. These are made of cherry. They come pre-mortised with a matching tenon on the skirt board. They also have the hardware for the corner braces, which are included as well. And here we have the skirt boards and the corner braces. Everything's milled to the exact size that it needs to be, and holes are drilled for the hardware. And the skirt boards already have a tenon fashioned on them that matches the mortise in the leg. That's a great fit. Before assembling the table with glue and screws, I'm going to have a successful dry fit. I'll go around and insert the tenon into each mortise and make sure everything fits before I use glue. And here's a look at the corner braces. They slip over this bolt that's attached to the inside corner of the leg, and then there's pre-drilled holes so that it can be screwed and glued into the skirt boards. And you see these pre-drilled pocket holes? There's one where you can use a screw to lock the tenon into the mortise, and then vertical pocket holes that are pre-drilled that will allow you to attach your tabletop to the skirt boards. It's really a nice system. I'm going to assemble the table in two halves, the long half and the long half, and after those have set, then we'll combine the two halves by attaching the short skirt boards in between. Now before we glue anything, I'm going to protect the surrounding areas with masking tape, because if we get any glue on unwanted areas, it's going to affect the way the finish absorbs. It's a good idea to make sure you have everything you need before you start the glue up, because you have about 5 minutes of open working time with typical yellow glue. I find that using a foam brush to put glue in the mortises is an easy method. And you don't need a whole lot of glue, especially because these joints have that pre-drilled pocket hole that will allow you to drive a screw through the skirt board into the leg, thus locking the tenon in place. So after you have glue in the mortise, just insert the tenon and press the two together. We'll do the same thing on the other mortise and put its tenon in place. Now with a long clamp, I'm going to draw these three components together before I screw in through the tenon and lock the leg in place. There's one thing I like about the mortise and tenon joint. It's self-aligning. If the tenons are true and square with the skirt board and the mortises are 90 degrees to the mating face, when this joint goes together with clamping pressure, it's automatically square. So with the skirt board clamped into the leg, I can now drive that screw that will lock the tenon into the mortise. So there's one half of the table done. We'll do exactly the same procedure for the other long sides, and then we'll connect the two halves. Now that we have the two long sides done, it's time to connect those using the shorter skirt boards. And it goes exactly the same as before, except now we have to do both at the same time, because if you put one short skirt board in, you won't be able to fit the other one in after that one dries. the short sides, now's a good time to check the table for square. I'm going to measure across the outside corners of each post, and if I need to make an adjustment, I've clamped one side of the table here, and the rest will move, thus racking the table one way or the other back into square. That looks good. Let's screw it together. The wooden corner braces are really easy to install. You just slip it over the bolt and then center it using these two pocket holes as a guide. Finish off the corner braces. All we have to do is screw through them into the skirt boards. Well, that takes care of the assembly of the table. I was amazed at how quickly this table went together. The milling operations on the mortise and tenons and the braces, everything goes together exactly the way you would expect, and there's no surprises during your glue up. Just about anybody with basic skills could build this table using the Osborne Wood Products components.